Look at a digital map of Indonesian government infrastructure, and you'll see a cascading chain reaction of compromised nodes. In early 2024, the National Cyber and Crypto Agency, or BSSN, identified exactly 1,626 government and educational websites that had been successfully breached. These attackers execute high-visibility takeovers that force government infrastructure to prioritize hosting illegal traffic over its intended administrative functions. The campaigns specifically targeted state-owned .go.id and academic.ac.id top-level domains. They wiped out legitimate administrative interfaces and completely overwrote them, forcing official state infrastructure to host slot Gacor, illegal online gambling portals. When over 1,000 distinct government endpoints suffer the exact same style of defacement, it points directly to a systemic, nationwide architectural vulnerability. Historically, when a government website gets defaced, the motive is political hacktivism, an ideological group breaking in to publish a public message. The slot Gacor epidemic is entirely financially driven. Organized gambling syndicates are executing massive search engine optimization hijacks. Search algorithms like Google use a metric called domain authority to determine how trustworthy a link is. By design, government and educational domains hold the highest possible trust scores on the internet. Meanwhile, national ISPs employ automated block lists that restrict traffic to known, low-reputation gambling IP addresses. By co-opting a .go.id domain, illicit operators can route their traffic right past those national firewalls, wrapped in the verified trust of a state agency. The attackers weaponized the government's own digital trust index, using state infrastructure as a bulletproof shield for illegal content. To understand how these breaches happen, look at the BSSN threat data. In 2024, they logged over 162 million traffic anomalies across national networks. This chart breaks down the baseline threat environment. The vast majority is automated noise. 60% is malware activity, and 19% is Trojan scans pinging outward. Filter out the bots, and you find a highly specialized 7.11% slice categorized as unauthorized access and system misconfiguration. While malware scans indiscriminately hit every public-facing IP address, successful web defacements require deliberate manual targeting. 1 million blocked ping requests don't matter. A single successful intrusion into an administrative root directory compromises the entire server. Looking at the 2023 defacement distribution data, out of 189 total cases, 167 were concentrated entirely on administrative government sites. IT teams must ignore the background noise and aggressively lock down their administrative web applications. So, if these government networks are sitting behind enterprise-grade firewalls, how are attackers consistently breaching the administrative sites? Because they aren't attacking the network layer. They are walking straight through open ports to target vulnerabilities in the application framework and third-party plugins. The SSN data flags specific high-severity vulnerabilities driving these attacks: SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and path traversal. An attacker uses path traversal to manipulate file paths, allowing them to navigate outside restricted web directories and read sensitive configuration folders. From there, they deploy SQL injection. By feeding malicious commands into an unsecured login field, the database grants them administrative privileges. They can then rewrite the web root index files to display gambling content. Spending millions on a perimeter firewall does nothing if the underlying web application code accepts raw database injection without sanitizing the inputs. Vulnerable code is only half the equation. The operational habits of the internal IT teams actively multiply the risk of a breach. This BSSN threat matrix maps external attacks like vulnerable software against internal user behaviors, such as weak passwords and human error. An outdated plugin is a security risk, but an outdated plugin combined with a careless administrator reusing a compromised password is a guaranteed breach. Those 11.5 million unauthorized access anomalies logged by BSSN map directly to these internal administrative lapses. When system permissions are misconfigured, an attacker who gains a low-level foothold can easily escalate their privileges to full root server access. In many cases, attackers don't even need complex SQL injections. They simply log in through the front door because an administrator left the default content management system credentials active. Securing the application layer demands continuous code patching, but it has to be paired with strict zero-trust identity and access management policies internally. We have to evaluate the macro-level consequences of these attacks. A Gacor defacement is a crisis for the state. When a citizen navigates to a verified state portal and finds illegal gambling content, the immediate reputational damage degrades public trust in the government's ability to protect its own infrastructure. Operationally, it forces IT teams to quarantine the site, instantly degrading the availability of essential digital public services. A visible web defacement pins the IT department's focus to the homepage. While administrators work to restore the visuals, secondary scripts often utilize that same administrative access to scrape and exfiltrate the backend database. BSSN notes that compromised administrative databases are often packaged and sold on dark web forums, leaving sensitive citizen data open for secondary exploitation. These breaches damage the state's digital sovereignty and the long-term reliability of government data. Fixing these vulnerabilities isn't an optional IT best practice. Technical remediation is the primary mechanism for meeting national legal obligations. National cybersecurity policies govern all public data. This includes the Information and Electronic Transactions Act, the Personal Data Protection Act, and Government Regulation No. 71. Government Regulation 71 requires state electronic systems to be reliable and safe. In a legal context, leaving a high-severity flaw like a known SQL injection active translates to a direct failure of this reliability standard. Similarly, the Personal Data Protection Law, or UUPDP, mandates the security of citizen information. Failing to patch cross-site scripting vulnerabilities that allow session hijacking is a violation of this statutory duty to the public. Therefore, proactive patching and strict password policies are not just technical tasks. They are the only way for an agency to maintain continuous legal compliance. The National Cyber and Crypto Agency sets these baselines to protect the digital perimeter. A resilient national infrastructure is only built when high-level cybersecurity law is actively translated into rigorous packet-level defenses.